Hello and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today we'll be going over the Hot Wheels Premium Lamborghini Essenza. Alright, let's get right into the casting because first and foremost, this is a new casting. This is its first release, and as of right now, this is its only release other than the chase version, which I did not grab. Alright, so first things first, it's very long. It's going to be one of the longer castings that you'll see from Hot Wheels. I would say it's probably about as long as Hot Wheels ever get. We have our mirrors casted in there. We have a metal wing, so we don't have to worry about warpage like we do with other castings with large rear wings. And then, of course, we've got all of these vents casted in as you'd like. We've got this kind of intake system thing is, I think, a piece of the window. I'm not positive on that, but it appears that way. And that actually makes the little dip that goes for this hood scoop thing, roof scoop thing. We have these little details up here are actually casted in. That's nice. This little vent intake thing is casted in as well. All very, very nice. Our splitter and our little planes are all casted in as well. Super, super nice. However, we talked about it being long. It's also very skinny. And I think the combination of a little bit too skinny and this nose piece being a little short are why we have such off proportions. Because there's no hiding it. The proportions are definitely off. And especially from angles like this, it looks a little bit wonky. Definitely doesn't give off Essenza vibes, that's for sure. Moving on to our paint and deco, we have a very realistic deco that is pretty accurate to the real life car. At least the one that was used for most of the promo shots and stuff like that. So that is nice to see. We also have this really, really nice green metallic paint that's used. It's might be Spectraflame. If it's not, it's definitely close. It looks fantastic. This is definitely the highlight of this release here, is this Spectraflame sort of kind of paint. It looks absolutely fantastic on it. If the casting was perfect, this would be an absolutely perfect release because this paint just looks phenomenal. Moving on to our details. We've got our 63 up front, right next to the Lamborghini logo. We've got some extra little Lamborghini logos here on the side, that is on both sides. We've got a little reflector or something right here, it looks nice. 63 where you'd expect it to be. We have a gas cap, I'm assuming, is painted on silver. On the back we do have tail lights, so that looks great. Up front, we don't really have headlights, but I'm going to assume that the Essenza either doesn't have headlights or they're very small. I actually have not looked close enough at the real-life Essenza to know if it does or doesn't, but I'm assuming it just doesn't have headlights. And we do have our vents up front, looking great. And that is about it for the detailed department. And now we'll do a quick roll test. It is a Hot Wheels Premium casting, so obviously it does roll, and it rolls very nicely. Pros and cons time. So our pros is our fantastic paint. This green metallic looks amazing. I love it. As of right now, this is the only Lamborghini Essenza in 1/64 scale. So I'm going to mark that down as a pro. However, there is a rival coming to Tomica Premium at the end of the year, I believe. So when that releases, if I pick it up, we'll have to do a little comparison. And then the other big pro I would give it is the metal wing. You won't ever have to worry about getting this casting with a warped wing or anything like that because it's metal. It's nice. However, I do think that will limit it to being a premium only casting. So we might not get as many examples as we would if it were to ever go mainline. Alright, moving on to our cons, and we really only have the one, and I mentioned it earlier, and it's the proportions. So the proportions are just way off on this one. Now, I mentioned this on my Instagram post for the Lamborghini Cyan, and I thought the proportions were off on that, but the proportions are even worse on this one. I'm not sure who casted this one, but who designed this casting, but Maybe leave the Lamborghinis to someone else to do, because this one, the up front is the worst section. I just think it looks almost rushed. This nose section, I think, is too short. And we talked about earlier, the casting itself is really long. So there's probably a limit to how big they can make it. But I think perhaps if we're going to squish an area of the car, squish an area in the roof or this tail section, and that would be a little less noticeable than squishing this hood section here, because from certain angles it looks fine. From that angle it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, other angles, it just does not look correct at all. And here we have a size comparison between some other Lamborghinis you might have in your collection, with the Hot Wheels Lamborghini Cayenne and the Matchbox Lamborghini Centenario. And as you can see, it scales up pretty nicely with these other releases. And here we have it scaled up to some other cars you might have in your collection, with the Hot Wheels McLaren Speedtail and the Tarmac Works Pagani Zonda R. As you can see, it scales up pretty nicely with them as well. Alright, so my overall thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. The proportions being off by as much as they are, especially up front, it makes it look very strange from most angles, but the paint and deco help the casting a ton. So I don't have the chase version. I likely won't get the chase version. I originally planned on trying to find a way to grab it, but when I got this and saw the proportions were just a little bit off for my liking, I decided I didn't need the chase version. That all being said, though, I still very much like this release, and I'm still glad that I picked it up, and I think you guys would be as well. And with that, that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.